discuss on the network configuration part, like how we can do the networking into our Ubuntu operating system. So there is a command called ifconfig where we can get the IP address of the Linux machine. So this in this case our machine Ubuntu operating system the IP address is 1.2. The same way if we want to know the so this is the Ethernet adapter for this and this is the loopback address means internal IP address and the Ethernet 0 is the first Ethernet card and L0 would be is the loopback IP address and IPv4 address ranges from 0 to 255 which is separated by periods. Now in the same way we can find how we could come to another output table means how the Linux kernel is supporting the IP address listing. So this we can see here in the full screen destination gateway and the IP address according. Okay. Now, here there is a host file where we can get to know the understanding of what exactly it does. So, in this thing, we can find in our Windows machine, if you check, we will find it like host file, or you can see in the etc folder. So, this is our for Windows thing I am talking about, where the host file location. So, this is the host file, and we can see our loopback address if you open it in this file in Notepad. So, this is the loopback IP address which we have seen in the our Linux operating system. So in the same way, we will find it by our Ubuntu operating system in the etc host folder. Okay, so we can do this command grep command. What grep command do? We can get if we didn't get any kind of a clue, so we can check for it searches for file for a particular pattern of characters. So what is the pattern here? Here the pattern is this pattern, which is which pattern which we IP address pattern. Okay, so it will check for the this file and it will represent that what exactly this file belongs to 0.0.1 then etc folder then host. Okay, so this is the location. It will say that it is a local host IP address. Now, similarly, we'll type the ping command. We know that ping command is due to a number of packets it received and number of lost packets. So, in this way, we can define in the our local host means how many packets are receiving. I will press Control C to terminate because I have not in the host. So, let's see what output comes, but we have to check for the local host. It, host does not recognize it. So we will go and print local host. Okay. So now it will be responding to the IP address. Now there is other command called to know that how the name server exists. So there is other command which is cat command, and in the cat command we can go to configuration with etc file and resolve.config. So resolve.config tells the name server of this what like in Windows we have the ns lookup. Okay, so in the same way if we do in our Windows machine, let's say I want to know what is the name server of my IP address. So ns lookup and localhost because it is my local machine. So here non-existent domain, and if we do ns lookup 127.0.0.1, then still it doesn't find it. Okay, now here in the resolve.config file, what the cat command do, we will see here. So cat command in Linux directly comes and it will reads each file parameter in second, writes into the standard output. Okay, so this is the cat command which we can where you can create or merge the print files and output it to the screen. Now, in the same way, as we in the Windows machine we are using nslookup command. In the same way, in Linux we will use the diff command to resolve the name to IP address. Okay, so I want to know what is the local host dot local domain. Okay, so it will depict us the name server the server information. Okay, and it will also set the timing and the authority domain associated with it. The answer section will tell us the loopback IP address because we have query with the dig command localhost.local domain. So it has given the answer that this localhost domain is present in this IP address. Okay, in the same way, the authority section is there where we see the name server, and this name server is communicating on the DNS 53 which is the protocol, or we can say the uh, port number. Now, this also mentions that if the above command does not execute successfully, okay, then in that case we can or we can use the sudo etc bin restart, so that will restart our uh, window. So we will use this command, and this will ask for the password as they told. So we will use our local password for this netlab123, the lab password. So it will stopping the domain name service, then again it's starting. So again, that will help to execute if the dig command won't work. Now we will resolve the fully qualified domain name to the IP address. How we will do it? So we will do it by dig command again, and it will help us to get the IP address. So I will clear the screen so to have a better visibility, and I will paste that command. So dig. So this is the answer section, and we got the IP address 1.2. Similar with the authority section and the additional section. Okay, so next we will check for the now D command, which when we use it with the X or X command, the it will help us note the build number. See here, the Ubuntu, this would be the build number, and the authority answer we got the headers. But we are more concerned about the answer section where we see the ARP routing table, and this is the MAC address which we see in the number of alphabets and numbers. Okay, so likewise we will help us to prepare a virtual environment, and we will find it that this IP address is belongs to example.com. Okay, let's go ahead. So next we will see on the netstate command in networking, which will very helpful for us, and it will help us to know the identified how many routes are coming or how the routing table gets displayed. In a way, it helps us to communicate with the routing table. So let's see it in detail. So I will paste it, and we will get the help. So see, R will display the routing table, and I will display the interface table. Okay. So likewise, we can have it, and we will fortunately it will help us to create the verbose or to help us communicate with the Linux security or any routing cache. Now next we will see how we will use it with another you what to say the port number. Let's say TCP port number for with the SSH 22 port 22. So I will type netstate -tl. Okay, so what it will do? It will help us to manage the active connections. What are the active connections we have? So we will see the TCP protocol, which is listening. The port TCP port is listening on the port number 953.33439. So these are the list of ports which help us to listen. Now same thing if we'll do the other command, let's say TLN, that will help us to check for the again the foreign I address, and also it will help us to communicate with the TC listening ports only, and it will give the protocol or the active internet connection with the send and receive packets also. Whereas in TL, we only find the list of commands and the listening ports as well. But here it will define the port number as well, and here it will define the domain and what are the means the host protocols. So in the number it will form, but here it will in TL command it will provide the naming convention like domain or SSH. Now what domain is 53 and what port SSH is using, so 22. So likewise we have utilized this concept in our routing table in our Ubuntu Unix platform. Now let's see netstate. Other command is -ln LTN. Now that will help us to gather the information for the communication, the listening output ports. The command will limits the output to ports with listening services and shows the network address numerically as we have seen previously. And T will option, it will limits the listing to the TCP ports. Okay. And the last section will help us to deal with the web server to generate the traffic first, simple script command, and then it will help us to check for the traffic, and that can be displayed by SS commands for troubleshooting. So let's start our web server. I will reset it. I'm resetting the Ubuntu operating system. Now it will, let's do the full screen. So let's wait. Okay, so it's a self-explanatory that it may take time to start our web server. So by this, okay, we are good to go now. So we press enter key to begin, and we press clear the screen, and we toggle our full screen, and let's start our web server. Here on screen keyboard is also there, so you can use the keys here, but that's not required. So let's go ahead to start the start underscore web server. So it will be connecting to the web server, and then it will display the network statistic by SSH command. So let's do it. Okay, so the web server has started now. Now use ss command. It will give us the local host and the port number or the listening ports. Okay, so this is the port number, local IP address, the peer IP address from which the network connection is going. So that's all for we have understood the network configuration, how it works. Thank you for watching.